Do those kissy-face movies make your stomach churn? Well, if so, Horror Addict Fanatics welcomes you. Like, follow, and share our horrific horror page, www.facebook.com/Horror Addict Fanatics. One monster would be terrific, but here are three to bring you 3 times the horror. 1. Dracula. The mere mention of his name strikes fear in the hearts of mortal men. Lures innocent girls to a fate truly worse than death. An undead fiend of the night, thirsting for blood. 2. The monster. A creature so hideous, women faint at the sheer sight of him. Is he man? Is he alive? Or is he dead? An uncontrollable beast. A creature with no soul. 3. The Wolfman. A man cursed to live out his days as an unearthly beast transformed by the light of a full moon, searching for a way to remove his curse. He is driven into madness, a man tortured by the fact he will kill every full moon. His ghastly howl, a dirge of death. Horror Addict Fanatics presents Tales of Dracula. Starring Wayne W. Johnson, Dracula. Joe DeMiro, the Monster. Tom DeLillo as Cretan Reed, the Wolfman. Mickey Ray, Professor Von Helsing. And Bennett McDuff as Dr. Victoria Frankenstein. Do those kissy-face movies make your stomach churn? Well, if so, Horror Addict Fanatics welcomes you. Like, follow, and share our horrific horror page, www.facebook.com/Horror Addict Fanatics.
Hello and welcome to Horror Addicts Fanatics. Our special presentation this evening is Wolfbain Productions, Tales of Dracula. We have a special guest, Wayne W. Johnson, and let's bring him into the show now and get right to it.
Oh, boy, that was quite a rush in. Thanks.
I told you we was going to get right to it this time.
Yeah, you did. Damn.
Wow. How are you doing this evening?
Good. Pretty good. How are you doing?
Great. I think we're doing much better this time.
Yeah, I got my technology updated, so now I'm in the early 2000s somewhere. You know.
Right. Hey guys, if you're watching us right now, I see that we've got 3 viewers. Comment so we know who you are.
Yeah.
Let us say hello and check in with us. I can't see everything exactly, but there's too much going on.
Yeah, I got too much going on in my little head there. Well, that's one of my charms, I guess.
Right. So we'll just get right into it because we're going to show the film again. We had some audio issues the last time, but this time I think we've got it figured out. So we'll jump right into it. Yeah,
I turned my mic on.
Well, let's go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself, as much or as less as you want about how you got involved with Tales of Dracula and, where you come from. And
I'm just replying to the comment that just got,
Hi, Deb.
I think that lasted on there. Yeah, okay. There's a little delay here on my end, but that's okay. Well, basically, just a little bit about myself. My name is Wayne W. Johnson. I'm an actor from Syracuse, New York. I started acting seriously, I would say, probably around 2011. Previously, before that, I was more my path was more towards music, and with my band Caroline Blue, and we released a couple albums, had several music videos. But the lineups kept, somebody would keep leaving or quitting or get fired or whatever. And then we'd have to start over again. And by the time it got to 2011, Caroline Blue started roughly around 2000, 2001. So about 10 years. And we were progressing and doing well. But, every time somebody left, you had to take several steps back. So after the last time that happened, I was just getting burnt out and everything. So I needed a break. And also on top of that, it was getting more and more that I was starting to do a lot more. It was almost like originally Caroline Blue started like it was me and people I hired as needed. And then it progressed to permanent lineups. And then towards the end, it came back 360 to me and people I hired as needed. And that's how it currently is right now. Caroline Blue is still around, but it's moving at a really, really slow rate. But things are happening, and at some point it's all going to come out there and explode again. I will say, just before I get back into the acting thing, that we've already, Caroline Blue has a brand new song already fully done and everything as of a couple of months ago called My Fingers. And it was and that's going to be on the new CD. And hopefully I'm going to be working my butt off to do it to get it released before year's end. So, as well as a bunch of other things. But anyway, with the music videos we were doing with Caroline Blue, I was making also contacts with a lot of indie filmmakers, and that's how I kind of parlayed that into an acting career, so to speak. Also, I had been laid off my job, and I happened to have some money behind me. So I was actually a full-time actor for about 3 years, and until the money ran out, you know. But I got a pretty decent. What's the word I'm looking for? I got further than music actually with acting, and towards the tail end of that, around 2014, is when I did a film called Tales of Dracula, and that came out in 2015. And around 2019 is when we started working on Tales of Dracula. Dracula Meets the Wolfman, which is basically, from this point on, I'll just refer to it as Tales 2. But when it's basically how Dracula and the Wolfman meet, and because a lot of times what Joe's doing is he's like trying to fill in the blanks from the Universal films and stuff, like, because there was some things that were left unanswered, so he's trying to fill in the blanks there. And there's going to be a number of people who come from first Tales into the second, and there's a few that don't, and there's some new people that are also in Tales 2. We can talk more about that, after the showing here, but this is a weeknight. I am trying to censor myself a little bit, not censor, but just kind of edit myself, because as anybody who saw the last attempt I tried to do this, I can keep going, man. It's like there's a caffeine line on me or something, so it's like, I don't want to take up too much time. This is a weeknight, so that's basically up to speed up to Tales of Dracula, where you have Dracula, the monster, and the Wolfman. And
well, we have 15 minutes, so you have 15 minutes to talk about.
15 minutes to answer one question? Oh, that's perfect. That's about right.
Well,
I know.
Well,
got you there.
What you guys don't know is I gave him a 5-minute limit, so I'm going to go ahead and say that publicly. I gave him a 5-minute limit. I just decided, we've got 15 minutes till the film starts, so you can answer the question however you choose.
No, watch, I don't say anything for 15 minutes. Just no one would believe it's me. Well, to build upon that a little bit, I mean, the first Tales of Dracula, you'll see, just to sum it up, basically, Dracula is returning from England, and Dr. Von Helsing is chasing after him, and Dracula the reason he's hurrying back to England because he has sensed that his bride is in trouble, and eventually he's going to be searching for a new bride. And during that time, entering into the picture is Creighton Reed, who is the Wolfman, who is a troubled soul who is trying to find a cure for his curse. And he goes to an area where Peter Frankenstein is, where his chateau is. But Peter isn't there, but his daughter, Victoria Frankenstein, is. And she does carry on the family traditions, as you may or may not know what those are, but you will when you watch the film. And it's very much in line with the old 1940s Universal films and stuff. We tried to do the best. Now, just to say, Joe DeMuro was the monster. Tom Villalobos was the Wolfman. All of our makeup was done by Ron Chamberlain. Great classic horror makeup artist. The one who probably looks the most different from the classics is obviously me, because of the hair, the eye, the contacts, even the fang placement, because normally it's like one back, but for some reason the fangs that I have, they wouldn't fit, probably because I have a big mouth. What a surprise. So it actually goes forward, which is actually closer to a modern vampire look. So I'm the one, and I'm a little bigger than what people would think of as a vampire. Right. Because McDonald's, as I was saying before, among other things, which we won't go into here. But, so I'm the one that probably sticks out the most, that's different from the classics, but we still try to keep it within that vein with taking stuff, mainly inspiration from Bela Lugosi and Frank Langella. That was the two main sources. We could talk about that later as well.
Okay.
And but as we go into Tales of Dracula, Dracula meets the Wolfman. I guess I'm going to do that, even though I said I wouldn't. Tales 2, it starts deviating a little bit. The script called for some things that aren't. Again, it's kind of filling in the blanks, like kind of the first meeting of Dracula and the Wolfman. And there's certain things that are in there. And in a previous interview, I actually said, like I was saying, we're starting to drift into what's known as the Demuroverse, which is Joe's universe here. Still very, very heavily involved with the classic feel, the Universal films and stuff. But, there are little touches here and there that it's starting to peek out a little bit. And again, I've already started that because of my look. And because my Dracula is actually based upon Vlad the Impaler, so that's part of the reason why he's a bigger guy. He's a warrior figure. So although it's kind of, and he had the long hair, but he also had a beard and a mustache. And I just pointed to the opposite things when I said that. He had a mustache and a beard. And luckily, Joe, they never talked about that with me trying to do that, which is good because that I've had fake mustaches on before for film roles, and I've had to grow a real mustache to do that. And regardless of what you do, they both have their headaches. And the last thing you need is something like in Justice League, where you're trying to digitally wipe out a mustache or try to add it in or something like that. And it looks like you got a gerbil duct taped to your upper lip, So it's I know there's probably some of people who follow me would probably love to see that, but sorry. But and all the filming took place down for both films took place in the Binghamton, New York area. It's an indie film. Both of them are actually with Wolfbain Productions, and there's going to be some surprises here. But whatever questions were in the first one, they pretty much are answered in the second one. So. You got to watch the first one first, of course, to see what's going on. And if you guys have any questions or anything about, while watching the film, feel free to pipe in and type. And, as long as it's PG-13, I will answer to the best of my knowledge. I don't know everything about the film, obviously, but I was there a good chunk of the time. And it was a lot of fun. Great cast, great crew. I mean, everybody worked their butts off on this, and I salute all of you. And I hope I was able to keep up with everything because great talent all across the board, and I had a lot of fun. Yeah, and like I said, it's very much. I mean, it's from the fans for the fans, or the producers like to say, we're monster kids who grew up to make our own monster films. So, and I'm just so glad that I was able to be part of it.
Yeah, you had a good role in it too. I mean, you don't, you're playing Dracula. It's an iconic character.
I am. I thought I was playing Blackula. No, I'm just joking. That would be a switch. No, yeah, it was interesting because I've never. It's so weird because even from the beginning, I tend to gravitate towards villains. I don't know. I guess I found out real quick. When you're acting, one of the things they say is like, figure out what your type is. I found out real quick what my type was, and basically, it was just easier for me to get roles that, where I'm inflicting the damage instead of being the one who the damage is being inflicted upon. I have in some films played the victim role, and I've played a good guy in a couple things, most notably Star Trek New Voyages and the Federation Files. I played Ensign or Lieutenant Walking Bear, and he's a Federation officer, so I mean he's as good as you can get for the most part. I
actually watched that episode last night.
Which one?
You put me on the spot.
Was it the one
with the mother
Oh, yeah, that's the Federation Files,
the
yeah.
Federation Files, yeah.
Walking Bear, Running Wolf.
Exactly.
Yep.
But I did watch it, and it was really good. I'm a
Thank
fan
you.
of. I'm not just a fan of horror. I have to admit, I'm a Star Trek fan, but I'm also a fan of Star Wars. I like both. So
Mhm.
I'm one of the rare people that actually like both.
I do
Star
too.
Trek
I mean,
and Star Wars.
I like it myself. I will say, I will say, I'm more of a Star Wars guy than. I mean, where is he? He's over here. No, he's over here. Up here.
Yeah.
You know, he's right there. I mean, Mr. Grogu there, making sure that I don't get into trouble with my mouth, which is an impossible job. But yeah, I mean, because when I grew up, you know, I watched the original Star Trek, but Star Wars, when that, you know, when I saw that first movie, I just blew my little mind away, and it hasn't been the same since. You know.
So, real quick, I just wanted to say, Wolfbain Productions has got another production in the works called Mark of the Werewolf.
Yes.
They've got a casting call coming up, and I'm gonna put it up on the screen here.
Yeah, it's and Ron Chamberlain is coming back to do the makeup and effects on that one, so that's going to be wild. I'm not sure if that's classic or modern though. I don't know. I just know that Joe keeps wanting me to audition for a female role, and I keep saying no, Joe. I mean, Joe. I mean, you're getting a little confused with the hair and stuff, and maybe some of those reface videos that I keep putting up, because I do put my face on men and women. It's just a laugh at my expense. You know, that's all it really is. I'm an entertainer, so. And it's funny to me, so I would think, you know, maybe some other people will laugh too. And some people have actually been offended by some of the stuff that I've done on there, especially with its women. I guess I kind of blow their fantasy away, or maybe I expand their fantasy. I don't know, but it's like, and if I do, I don't want to hear it, you know. But it's
shame on you.
No, geez. Well, I'm playing Dracula. I played Cornelia. Just me playing Dracula in these two films, and Cornelius and Night of Something Strange, I'm beyond saving already.
Oh yeah,
that's
it.
You know.
So yeah, anybody that's watching live now or later after the stream, you can go over to Wolfbain Productions Facebook page, and before February the 20th and the 21st, go
in Central New York, Southern New York area,
right,
of course.
Right, of course. So, yeah, I just wanted to put that out there for them, if it helps. Now, I have something. There's a few behind-the-scenes goofs of Dracula. So I'm going to show a couple of those. Spoiler alert, but we're going to show them. So, so before we start the film, before we start the film, I'm going to show these, and then we'll get your reaction, and then we'll start with the film. So here we go, right into it.
I shall introduce myself. I am Vlad Tepes, but to most I am Count Chocula, Count Dracula, which in the tongue of my native land, including, I am totally going off right now.
You may consider him a monster, but I was raised with him as if he were my own brother.
There is another lion here, but I do not know. No.
Well,
that last one, I can tell you right now, that was more like they kept asking me to do that because I was doing it unintentionally. And they would just say, jump off, and they wouldn't really tell me, why. And they were just laughing. And I was like, oh, because I do that sometimes too. I'm not even aware of it. I'll be just like, I'm more trying to clear my hair because my hair is always in danger of covering my face, and I become Cousin It. So it's like, And the first one was just brain fart, basically. it happens, and I mean, it's funny because just looking at those clips, like, man, this guy is a pretty bad actor. He keeps blowing his lines, you know. But it happens. I mean, that's the beauty of doing anything with film is, you know, for the most part, unless you're working with a director who likes to go really fast and just do first takes all the time. And I've actually worked with a few people like that. And it's kind of a weird thing because I've worked on the opposite end where you're like 20 takes per, you know, it's like you're doing 20 takes and it still wants more. And it's just like, okay, what are they looking for? What, you know, how can I deliver this properly and stuff like that or something. But, you know, and the other one, I mean, it's funny if you notice where I said there's another line here, you know, that's Joe in the makeup, and he's probably going, "Oh my God, Wayne, come on!" You know, because at that point I think it was 1 a.m. You know, that was a really long shoot that day.
I actually liked his reaction because you could hear his reaction and you could see him go, "Oh."
Yeah.
In character, it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah. Because there was a lot of dialogue. So I mean, at that point, but there's even more in Tales of Dracula 2. My character actually has a couple more long monologues going on. So I get to speak more, whether that's good or bad.
There really wasn't a whole lot of behind the scene goofs with you in it.
It's
so that was, you know, not bad.
Yeah, I actually have some video that I'm going to be posting in the future. Some goofball behind the scenes stuff that I did. One involves me as Dracula. It answers the question: if Dracula has to go to the bathroom, how does he do it? And another one, which actually would probably take a lot longer because there's a spoiler in it, unfortunately, so I can't put that up right away. How does Dracula eat a piece of pizza? But I can't put that up because there's a major spoiler in it because I was just going off the cuff. And there's some other stuff. I'm sure those guys have all sorts of things. There's all sorts of stuff that, I mean, I know I got pictures that they said not to put up, which I won't unless somebody hacks my computer, you know, which that can always happen. Remember the last time we were here, I was joking around saying somebody wanted Pornhub through my camera and they got me instead, and they're like, you know. But yeah, I mean, and there's fun, but there's sometimes where it's weird. Sometimes some directors love that kind of stuff, and other ones really don't. I mean, you know, and it also depends on people too, because like I'll even remember on certain films, like, what happened to this footage and this footage and for this footage, and they're just kind of looking at me like, what are you talking about? And it's like, I know you filmed it because you're still filming. I know you still have it. What'd you do? Erase it all? It's stupid, you know, because it's funny stuff. But
after the film, we're going to talk a little bit about dialing down movement and reactions and acting, stunts and physical stuff on set.
Showmances?
Yeah. So
I don't know what those are.
Well,
it's like your intro. Remember your intro on there? It says, Dracula luring innocent girls to a fate truly worse than death. And what that is a date with me. You know, so it's like, you know, ask pretty much any of my exes. They all know. It's true. They'll be like, yeah, they'll be right now, you know, if they're watching this, they'd be like, yeah, you preach, boy.
We should invite them on the next show with you.
Oh, geez. Be a bash fest.
I'd kind of like to hear what they had to say, but
I probably would too. Only it's one of those things where, you know, it's kind of like a joke where it's like, you know, you don't want to hear anything bad about yourself, but you know, at a certain point, it's like, oh, well, what did I do then? What did I do next? What was the next thing that happened? Because I'd like to know. Because I've been in those situations where it's like, what did I supposedly say or do? I mean, I've actually had somebody describing next to me, to his friend, something that I did with a woman at a show with Caroline Blue, and I'm in my head going, that never happened. Dude, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. You're bragging, you're trying to you're talking me up. My ego's going through the roof. That's great, but that never happened, dude. Of course,
Yeah.
I did not correct him because, hey,
Well, of course.
it's me, but, but it's like, sometimes some things doesn't take much to go from point A to point B to point C. That message, and this is true with anything, especially like news or anything like that, it just kind of pieces get taken out,
Yeah.
other pieces get added in, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you get to point Z, and it's almost like a brand new thing. So,
Well, are you ready to watch Tales of Dracula?
yeah, let's go for it.
And
I think that was longer than 15 minutes, though.
we're only 3 minutes over.
Oh,
See?
no, can we go for 5? No, I'm just joking. Let's do it.
I'm keeping us on track. So.
That's awesome.
Let me start by telling you my name. I am Dr. Abraham von Helsing.
There we go.
There we go.
I am writing this down in my journal as a record of my meeting a man or devil. I was called to a small English town to aid a family friend's daughter who fell under the control of this man known as Count Dracula. This was not my first time in courting this evil. A small group of my fellow colleagues back in Transylvania, and led by Father Boris, who is at this very moment attempting to end Count Dracula's last disciple. Somehow, Dracula knows this, and has fled by boat and is heading home.
We must hurry. It's almost sunup. Look, there she is. Ingrid, give us Rita.
She's mine.
Take Rena home, Ludwig. There's nothing more could be done for Victor or Ingrid but to give them a proper Christian burial.
Okay, Father Boris.
I must follow him and put an end to his evil reign. Should I fail in my task, may whoever finds this journal please return this to my granddaughter Jessica.
This is not your daughter, Fritz. She's a demon that lives on human blood. If you truly love her, you must put her soul to rest. You can do it.
And may you also know that he is real.
There's the stock footage.
Look,
Oh, we can talk while this is going on?
See?
Oh yeah.
She is at peace.
Oh, I should have told you that. Did you know that there's an actual clip? We were just talking about behind the scenes footage and stuff. There's actually a clip of me yelling Stella instead of Ingrid. And I had to yell Ingrid probably about a good 20 times or more. I was on they were on a large, oh, wait a second here. Oh, that's a creepy look. That's my Tinder profile pic right there. No, I was saying like,
How nice of you to visit.
I think Joe was on a ladder filming me on that, or
I
Mike.
fear you will not go safely.
Count Dracula. Abraham said he had destroyed you, that he had driven a stake through your heart.
There are many things the good professor does
We'll
not know
save
about
this
my
next,
kind.
this
About
coming
the
up
powers
for
that I
after the
command.
movie. You'll know what I'm
Stand
talking about
back.
here in about 3 seconds. Okay, a little longer.
You have spilled the blood of my blood. I now will have to find a new bride.
On
You'll
Tinder.
find many facts about this fiendish character, and you will also see the truth of my encounters with him. Many things I've learned over the years of hunting this count. This journal shall be known as my very own
I really like
Tales
that
of Dracula.
that last cut where he comes towards the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, that whole thing that just happened with Father Boris and everything, that happened the same night as the behind the scenes there where Joe was strapped to the table and I was goofing with Courtney there. And but that was the very last thing. That was probably about 3 in the morning. We were doing that, so it got a little crazy sometimes. Because I was in actually a lot of pain at that point. But we'll get into that later.
All right, I'm gonna put this up to full screen and let everybody watch. And
Yeah. Can they still hear us?
oh yeah.
Oh, and I just said that.
I'm ready, Father.
Have you got the list?
Yes.
Now remember, Lona, you must make your deliveries quickly. When you make the last one,
I know. Eggs and bacon for the tavern.
now the time you get to the tavern, it might be nightfall. If that happens, then...
I know. Wait for the tavern. I can help Elsa behind the bar. Stop worrying so much. I'm a big girl now. I feel like Little Red Riding Hood with my basket of goodies.
Well, watch out for wolves, Little Red Riding Hood.
I think that hood actually was red, too.
Sir, can you help me?
Where did you come from?
Visaria. I'm looking for the Chateau Frankenstein. Do you know the way?
Chateau Frankenstein? Yes. Just a couple miles from here. You wouldn't be able to get there until nightfall. Around here, it's not safe to travel after nightfall.
Do you know a place I can spend the night?
There is a tavern a couple miles down the road, and they have rooms to let. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if someone might offer you a ride up to the chateau. Dr. Peter Frankenstein was very highly thought of in the village. You look a little healthy to be one of his patients.
About the tavern. Can you point the way?
Just follow the road for a couple miles or so.
Thank you, sir. How's the food there?
It's not bad, but it's not great. If you're looking for something to fill you up, it'll do the job. Just don't tell Anton I told you that. He's very proud of his cooking such that it is. He's the innkeeper.
I'm so famished, I'll eat whatever he puts in front of me. Have a good day, sir.
Same to you, stranger.
Creighton.
What?
Creighton Reed.
Well, mighty fine to make your acquaintance, Mr. Reed. You seem like a nice enough fellow.
Oh, I don't know. Some people seem to think so.
Listen, if you're planning to stay in our community, I might just have to introduce you to my daughter. You might even run into her on the way down to the tavern. If you do, just as a little joke, call her Little Red Riding Hood. She's got a riding hood and a basket.
I wouldn't want to frighten her. The tavern is this way, right?
Just down that road.
See you around, sir.
Call me Daniel, Mr. Reed.
Nice to meet you, Daniel.
Would you believe we were filming this on private property and in danger of being thrown out?
Really?
No. Some indie films do that, though.
Usually you get permission. So, yeah.
Actually, in my experience, usually they don't. I actually got in trouble for that one time. If you want, we can talk about that later. That's a different film, though, but not here. This is, as far as I know, they got all the permits and insurance and everything. What they didn't get was my hot tub. So, damn it.
Victor! You lazy thing. What are you doing taking a nap in the middle of the woods? I'm going to tell Father Boris on you. Wake up! Wake up! Dear Mother of Mercy. I feel no evil, for thou art with me.
I bet there's a movie reel somewhere that compiles all the people who have tripped in horror movies.
Think about a crossroad.
I'm going to have to look that up now.
It probably is.
I think when I first reached out to you and said that I talked to you about this movie, I'd actually had a discussion about the Wolfman, and how I felt that the actor did such an amazing job with his portrayal. I was really impressed, not only with I know we're focusing on we've got the Dracula and the monster, but he does such a great job as the Wolfman. He comes back and we'll talk about that after the film, but he does reprise his role in the next film.
Yep. Tom is back.
Tom did an excellent job.
There was no trickery here. The weather was actually like that. That's what happens. That's what happens in southern New York.
Where was this filmed, or is this some?
This was filmed in anything that's outside with the fog and stuff like that was filmed on a computer. It's digital.
No, it's not like Alana to be late.
She's not here. I must go find her.
No.
It's too late.
But
St. George's night.
Like right here, this is all digital. You can see how the guy's moving. There's some modern digital
There's a man at our door.
CGI here, although it's also kind of like throwback CGI in a way. So how I think in the 50s, I think they started adding that in 50s or the 60s. They started adding that a little bit, and it was crude by today's standards. So
I think it's a nice touch.
It's also budget constraints too. I mean, there's only so much money to be used. I think Tales of Dracula was. This whole film was.
During the day.
This whole film was made for like $20,000. So.
May I come in?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
With not enough money.
20 grand. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
did you see
sometimes you get the best work that way,
No,
sometimes.
the wrong fork in the road. Our paths never crossed.
I'm so worried about her. This is not like her at all.
Would you like me to help you find her?
No. No, thanks. It's dark. It's best we stay here. Daughter, get this man a room.
Yes, Father. Please. Come with me. I'll make you all set.
That was.
That would be great. Also, may I get a meal as well?
Yes, of course. Father is an excellent cook.
So I've been told.
Follow me, sir.
Call me Creighton.
What an interesting name. This way, Creighton.
The actress, Cassandra Hayes, she's like that in real life. She makes friends real easy. She's very charming, happy. You know, it's just someone that's like, she easily connects with people.
Yeah. Somebody you like to be on set with. And they're always...
Yeah, she has great positive energy.
I love this shot.
That was actually me before I had my plastic surgery, and they put the wig on me. No.
Did he have the weighted boots on?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember because when we had our thing at the end, I think he was just slightly taller than me. I think I'm not 100% sure because I'm like almost basically 6'3", and Joe normally is not. So he has to, wear those platform type boots, and he gets a lot taller. But it's still, I think in the original Frankenstein, was he like 9 feet tall, something like that?
I mean, Creighton?
Not sure the actual height, but he was pretty tall.
I am going to bring you wine from the country. It is the best.
Thank you. Why am I asking? What is with all the garlic hanging?
Oh, it's just for decoration.
Oh.
Now, about that wine. There you go. So, what brings you into these parts, Creighton? Sir, if you don't mind my asking.
I'm here to see Dr. Peter Frankenstein, which reminds me, do you think I could hire someone to take me to the chateau?
I don't see why not. It's funny, though. You're the second person to ask after the chateau.
The second?
Yes. Peter Frankenstein's daughter. She was just here not that long ago, dressed in men's clothes.
Dr. Frankenstein's daughter, you said?
Mm-hmm. It's funny. None of us even knew Dr. Peter even had a daughter. Just don't mention to her that she is a girl doctor. She hates that. And then there's Alana. There are wolves and other things.
Yes, wolves.
Dun, dun, dun. I see. It's like the classics. Well, maybe not the raising of the coffin, but at least the hand coming out a little bit. I think that was just in the classics. And then it goes over to the window. Although in the past, it was, in the actual Dracula film, it actually slowly panned over to the window. And then it came back. You never see Dracula getting out of the... And if it was me, I'd be struggling my butt off trying to get off the thing. And this is more of the obviously this, as cool as it would have been, that's not me. That's but I wasn't about to jump off a building like that. Not, you know. And what's worse, they didn't want me to wear pants, so I said no, I'm not doing it. See, he's not wearing. If you would have closed it on there, you see he wasn't wearing. He's not wearing pants. So. And right here in my hand, the way it is, that's like the Frank Langella kind of hand, the way he always had his hands in the film. It's a good thing I wore Axe that night.
Alona!
Otherwise, Greta would have beaten my butt up. You know.
Alona! Somebody, help, please.
There was a woman here last night who was a doctor. We'll take her there.
Joe
We'll take her to the
chimed
Chateau
in.
Frankenstein. Follow
He
me, look at the
said
wagon.
6'6" in full monster suit with boots.
I don't know.
Oh, so maybe it wasn't too far off. Well, maybe I'm too tall for Dracula, which wouldn't be a surprise. I mean,
No, but
like I said, out of the
right to the Chateau Frankenstein.
classic three, I'm the one that changed the most on this. I mean, a good majority of the reviews actually were, you know, they would always compliment the monster and the Wolfman on the makeup, and me, probably because I am a little bit.
I the last minute because I have just learned
Hold
that
on.
rumors of a wild woman in the woods not far from the ruins of the old estate are true. If I'm right, we might be able to arrange a reconciliation between the estranged couple. With the help of my assistant here in Geneva, I hope to be back with her soon. Your suggestions for the creature's improvement were sheer genius. I'm very impressed. Give your brother my best. I know he's in good hands. Your loving father, Peter von Frankenstein. Well, he doesn't need to sound so surprised. Father sends his best. Lie quietly, we're almost done. Say goodbye to these relics of your past.
Those are the only items that are actually copywritten in regards to the character. It's the bolts,
I didn't know
ironically
that.
enough. So that was a quick and easy way to get around that possible challenge.
Now who could that be? Fine time for callers.
Hey, Von calling. That was a very hot day. That's at the Rosalind Museum, I think it's what's called, out in Binghamton. What that is?
Please help her. She's dying.
Help who? Who are you? Please, doctor. We met back at the tavern. It's my friend. She's been injured. She's lost a lot of blood. Please, you gotta help Alana or she's gonna die.
Fine. Bring her this way then.
Like I said, it's a wonderful place, but there's no air conditioning, no fans, no ventilation. So very, very warm.
The bite of a vampire. Her blood is infected. I can use this.
What did you say, Doctor?
Nothing. You must wait outside in the parlor. Make a fist. If you can understand me, make a fist. Make a... Oh, never mind. I think I've got enough.
Those guys, that scene was those guys waiting for catering. They just happened to fit the mood, so they just popped it right in. No. Beautiful location.
Yeah, yes, very.
I'm sorry. There was nothing I could do.
Thank you, Doctor. I know you did everything good.
I'll write up the death certificate and have it sent over to your house. I'm sure my father has some lying around here somewhere. I just wish there was more that I could do.
I guess it was just along this time. After all, you're not the almighty God with the power over life and death.
No, of course not. Now, if you'll excuse me, there's something I really must attend to. You can see yourself out.
I said it's the Robertson Museum, not Rosalind. Robertson. So, in case anybody was working at that museum and getting really pissed off at me, I corrected it. Okay. I think I said it right. If not, well, okay. 10 more people deleted me off of Facebook then. Oh well.
Elsa, listen, I'm going to stay behind. I'm going to try and speak with the doctor. I have my own medical problem where she can help me with.
Are you sure she's gonna want to see you? Dear girl's as aggrieved about Alana's death as we are. Did you see the look in her eyes?
Even if she can't see me, I can use the walk to clear my head.
Thank you for everything. Great.
Ah, Joe's here. Oh, I see his thing. 6x6 in full monster suit with boots. Oops.
Come back! Well, at least we know the operation was a success. I thought you left with the others.
Lose something?
Yeah, something. One of my lab animals got out.
Must have been a pretty big animal to do this.
Just to let people know that there wasn't actual damage to the museum.
Look, I don't have time
Okay.
to see you.
Doctor, you have to make time. The moon will be full tonight. I need your help.
Keep your hands to yourself. What does the moon have to do with anything?
I'm a werewolf.
A werewolf. A lycanthrope.
Yes. When the moon is full, I change. I kill. I've done horrible things.
I want to be free of this curse. Your father said he would help me.
Father isn't here. He's out hunting for something. So if you're going to turn into a werewolf, kindly do it somewhere else. I have my own problems to deal with. Big problems.
I can't take the chance of going back to the tavern. I'll change and I'll hurt someone. It's the curse of the werewolf to kill the one he loves.
I see.
I can't take the chance of hurting anyone else.
Very well, fine. Among other things, this chateau used to be a sanitarium, and I think we still have some tranquilizer darts.
Come right this way, sir.
There are still some cells down here.
Your room shall be ready.
During your episodes, you can lock yourself up here for safekeeping.
There are no beds, but that is for paying customers.
I would thank you enough.
Well, you can't. If you have somewhere else to stay, be my guest. Now I really have to go.
I'll go back to the tavern for my things and pay my respects to Daniel's daughter.
You do that. Now, like my father, I have to go hunting.
Will this hold my tortured soul?
A lot of the locations, you know, with these walls and stuff, they were done actually at a state park down in the Binghamton area, which, you know, was just very lucky to find, if I remember the story right. And because it's got that very classic stone house look. Instead of having to build a set to approximate that, we were able to use a place that it was already there. You know, so sometimes you get lucky like that.
Yeah.
That's actually Ron right there in the front. Ron Chamberlain, the guy who did all the classic makeup.
Yes. In fact, starting tonight, I'll be staying at the chateau while I take treatments.
Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Shh. It's disrespectful to show happiness. Well,
Anton, do you think it would be okay if I went in to pay my respects?
I think Daniel would like that. I think he's rather fond of you.
Daniel, very sorry for your loss. May I pay my respects to your daughter?
Yes.
Please.
Elsa!
For those who don't understand what just happened there and can't wait for the explanation, her corpse was surrounded with wolfsbane.
Are you well?
Which causes that reaction
You're burning up
in
with a fever.
werewolves, wolfmen,
What happened to me?
assorted hairy
I need to
men.
rest for a while. I'm a little bit shaky.
I'll help you to your room. Father, help him.
Yes, she will help you to your room.
Oh. But then he helps anyway. We needed that a few moments later.
There. That was sweetheart. You felt very warm. You must rest here until morning.
No, you don't understand. I can't stay here.
Can't stay here? Of course you can stay here. Try not to upset yourself so much.
You gotta listen to me. The full moon. I have to leave before. I must leave before.
Very strange.
I fear for him. He seems very tormented.
Tormented? Around here, everybody is tormented about something. Let's leave him to rest in peace.
Father.
I mean, let him sleep.
He's right, we're all tormented, that's for sure. We're all whacked in our own way. Dr. Von Helsing. With a little house and a book and a feather. Just another little behind the scenes thing. That booth on the train right there, that's I believe that is in a garage. Actually.
My dear Jessica. Wow.
Because we had to do that again for Tales 2.
The one I face is the head of the bloodline and the strongest of them all. This journal is evidence that they truly exist. Even had we not had the proof of my own unhappy experience, the teachings and the records of the past give proof enough for sane people.
Is there anything I can get for you?
Coffee, please.
Sir.
As I make my way to the village of Lagos, I will travel through many parts of Transylvania by train. It
Lagos.
should be known that the weather changes quickly here, and you will need to get used to it.
Short for
Once
Lugosi.
I arrive in the village, I shall meet with Father Thomas, from whom I received a telegram informing me of Father Boris's death.
Ah, Joe provided another background info here.
It is in the Fagaris Mountains of southern Romania, perched on a remote peak outside the village of Lagos. Father Thomas has also stated he believes that Dracula has taken a new bride, a poor young farmer's daughter, Ilona, to replace what we believe to be his last disciple, Ingrid, daughter of Fritz.
I can't help it. Joe was saying
Return home
Well,
your
wait.
18th birthday, this, my journal, shall be given to you. Use it as you see fit, but always remember you are also a Van Helsing. Your loving grandfather, Abraham Van Helsing.
Excuse me, sir. Coffee. Is there anything else I can get for you? Perhaps an aperitif before dinner?
Nothing more, thank you. However, I do have a letter and a package that needs to be sent out by the time we get to the station. Can you see that it's done?
Certainly, sir. I will have it done as soon as we get to the next station.
Thank you.
Joe is also watching this, and I don't know if people can see the comments here or not during playback or anything, but he's saying Tom's pillow was made of plaster to help with holding his head still during the Wolfman transformation. So that must have been a lot of fun to have a pillow made of plaster.
That's great.
That was the beginning of my pillow, by the way.
The transformation, when you go back and watch the Wolfman movies, looks so similar to what they did. You know, I thought it was just great.
Oh yeah, great stuff. Although to another behind the scenes thing, you know, well, we'll see it. I'll mention it when we get to that point. When we get there.
Really, Father? You're drinking all the profits.
I am not drinking all the profits. It was the wake. Grieving men are thirsty men. Mind the bar. I'm going to get another cake out of the store.
Don't bother looking for it.
Looking for what?
You know what? I found it and I hid it. Dr. Peter has told you more than once that whiskey's not good for you.
Who is the parent here and who is the child?
We both know the answer to that.
Yes, we do.
Unfortunately, behind the scenes type of thing, there was a scene I don't know if it actually got filmed or not, that where the innkeeper did go downstairs and something happened there. But I don't know if it even got filmed, but obviously it got cut out.
But we should wait until we hear what Father Thomas has to say about this. We all know that Father Boris was killed.
Gentlemen, please, listen to me. These are dark times for your village. I know now that Father Boris is gone, and that we have lost the young girl Ilona. Yes, your worst fear is back. Dracula is preying on you young once more. And I promise you, we will do so.
By the way, anybody who's drinking right now, you have to take a shot every time somebody says father.
Father, please sit with me. Thank you.
Father, we were told by Father Boris that Dracula was killed in England and that Van Helsing was the one to kill him.
Yes, I received the same word, but then I was informed by Van Helsing that Dracula is on a boat heading back here.
Father, why can't we destroy him?
Dracula has many powers, as well as other disciples who aid him during the daylight hours.
Why would anyone help such a monster?
I am not sure why they help him. Might he have them under a spell? I do not know. However, we do know this. Dracula has the physical strength of 50 or more mortals, and he can shapeshift at will, taking a form of a bat, a wolf, or the mist of fog.
Go me.
He must have some sort of weakness.
He does, according to Van Helsing. One is the sunlight. He must rest by day in a lair.
You better read the original Dracula book there, guy.
Another weakness that can be used against Dracula are religious symbols, like the cross.
You didn't see the opening scene, did you?
Must be mentioned that only faithful persons are able to use these symbols of God. Father Sandro, please show the men what you have brought from abroad.
Look at that, a cross.
Father, will you lead us in prayer?
Yes, of course. Gentlemen, please bow your heads. Lord, in thy holy name, I hereby bind Dracula's evil spirit from the air, water, ground, underground, and netherworld. I further bind in your name any and all emissaries of Dracula, that he shall be forever driven from this land, and that you, O Lord, shall enable us with the power of the Magyar cross, the very cross of which Vlad Dracula was once vowed to protect. Lord, hear our prayer against the evil of Dracula. In honor of thy mercy. Amen.
Thank you, Father Sandro.
Father Thomas, when will Van Helsing get here?
Prior to our speaking, I sent a message to Van Helsing, telling him of Father Boris's death and that Dracula has a new bride. At this very minute, he is making his way here by train. Daniel, why are you not at your daughter's funeral?
Father, please, please, there must be another way.
Daniel, you know there is no other way. We must do this. Please sit and calm yourself.
She is my daughter. The thought of having a stake driven into her.
Daniel, if we do not do what we must do, she will feed on others in the village.
I understand. Father, when we took Alona to Dr. Frankenstein's, the doctor drew some blood from her.
What? What?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. Especially in this day and age. Might get COVID.
Earlier today, Stefan, Eugene, and I were scouting around like you asked us to. And we found Victor and Fritz. They were near Dracula's castle.
Are you drunk yet?
They both had been impaled.
This must be the work of Dracula. Daniel, who is this man staying at the inn?
His name is Creighton Reed. Oh, and there's something else I must tell you about him.
Yes.
At Alona's viewing, he walked up to her coffin, and as he got closer, he passed out and fell to the ground. Now, I didn't think anything of this at first, but as Anton and Elsa were taking him to his room, kept mumbling something about the Wolfbain. What do you think?
You
See?
must learn more about your guest.
Father, what about what Daniel said about this lady, Dr. Frankenstein? Something is really wrong here.
Yes. You and Stefan go and take a look around the grounds. But do not get too close.
Yes, Father.
What is taking Father Nikolai? He should be here by now, Daniel. Come, we shall get you back to the inn for the night. Andre, please see Daniel back to the inn. And tell Anton to make sure he stays there.
Yes, Father. When I'm done, shall I return?
No.
No.
I have work that needs to be done before Von Helsing arrives. Once you get him back to the inn, go and check on Father Nikolai.
Yes, Father.
You don't believe me! But I tell you, I saw him! He was a great big man with a hairy coat on. And he walked like this. I saw it!
That's the walk I use to enchant the ladies. No. That was in relation to that scene I was telling you about. That was, I don't know if they filmed it or not, but it's actually supposed to be a thing where you saw what Anton saw.
Right.
And here, this is kind of interesting behind the scenes, is due to either time constraints or couldn't use the place long enough or something like that. Some of this had to be filmed. A lot of this was filmed in that state park, but some of this was actually filmed in Joe's living room.
Nice.
Most notably when we get to the hand parts. Like right here.
Yeah, you couldn't tell it.
Yeah. Just something, just giving it away a little bit. Here comes that transformation you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean this cuts together like so many of the original Wolfman transformations.
I'm not sure about some of the other people on the production team, but I know Joe and Ron are they know this stuff inside and out. All the stuff about the classic monsters and everything, they inside and out, they know all this stuff. So
Oh yeah, you can clearly tell.
yeah, there's many times where I had a question about something and I knew I could just ask them, and
It's upstairs in the stranger's room.
you know, even if it went against my own instincts for whatever, something like that. Like I said, we, you know, especially with the first movie, you know, we were definitely trying to stay in line with the classic time and feel as much as possible.
Are you alright? What's the matter with you? Maybe we should wait until daybreak.
Father, we can't simply ignore it.
Not my window! I do not care what is in there. It is not going to break my window.
We already did.
A wolf.
A werewolf.
I like his reaction.
Yeah.
Not concern the other
Yeah, that's Dwight Kemper. He's also another guy who has a very solid foundation when it comes to the classic material and stuff. He's written actually a couple of, I believe he's written a couple of books on in the classic era in regards to Dracula, Frankenstein, Bela Lugosi. I think it's several books, I believe. This reminds me of my first Tinder date. That was such a cute dog. Oh.
That's great.
That's what I get to see in Tales of Dracula. Dracula meets the Wolfman.
Ungrateful child, say something for me!
That took 20 takes. No, it didn't.
How about another?
He has had enough.
So I will have it.
I haven't had really enough.
Father, I didn't have another. To lose a child.
Yes, he has lost a daughter, and I am losing my mind.
Alona?
Wait, where do you think you're going? It's a loner!
I see you finally decided to come back. What have you done? Fix it? I can't fix him. Look at him. He's a bloody mess. What do you expect me to do? Lay hands on him and wish him away? His heart burst. Why would you do something like this? Some big hairy animal did this. Of all the ridiculous. Wait. It's night. The moon is full. The lunatic said, did anyone see you like this? Of course.
Of course.
How am I going to convince anyone that you had nothing to do with this? We're going to have to dispose of him. Oh, but I do have something for you. Vampire's blood.
No!
You will be indestructible. No one will ever be able to stop you. Ever again. And if there was ever a time for you to be indestructible, it's now. Well, go get washed up. And take that with you. You'd think I'd be used to this sort of thing by now.
Alona!
Where's Igor, my butler? Oh, that's not wrong movie.
Alona! Alona!
Damn. I guess I should have called house cleaning a while back, huh? But then again, I like dark, dank places. Oh, there you go.
No existe nunca sparando dentro di
I guess I'm called Hope. You know?
Sure.
See, who needs to talk?
Who is this woman who dares to take my blood? This Frankenstein.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I think he's mad.
Yeah, I just got charged for spousal abuse or something.
How dare she take what is only mine to give?
Master? Do not leave me, Master. Take me with you.
We would, but budget constraints. I mean, after this, he's still not wearing pants.
Wonder. Steady. I think this injection may have some welcome side effects.
Welcome side effects. He can't see himself.
You see? You have no reflection, just like a vampire. Are you pleased? Don't worry, you'll get used to it. I wonder if you'll start thirsting for blood.
You'll soon find out.
No fangs yet. Well, I wouldn't be the first in my line to be guilty of not thinking this through. But I'd better make a note of it. The blood I drew from the girl was infected by a vampire, and from what I understand of the lore, these creatures have amazing recuperative powers that, in turn, should guarantee my creation's ability to survive any attack and be stronger than ever before. Maybe I should chain him up again.
I must say, this room was exceedingly hot when we filmed this. Like, my makeup was melting when we were doing this.
I did not mean to startle you. But you have something that belongs to my blood. What could you possibly want with my blood?
I take it you're a vampire? Why not? I've encountered a werewolf, chased after a monster, and had villagers warning me of all manner of strange things. So why not a vampire?
You know what I am. But do you know who I am?
You are obviously the one who attacked the Alona person. As to who you are, or rather what your name is, I haven't a clue.
I shall introduce myself. I am Vlad Tepes, but most know me as Count Dracula, which in the tongue of my native land means son of the devil.
Count Dracula himself. This is not my day.
You know of me?
Your reputation precedes you. I suppose now you're going to threaten me with my death?
If that were truly my intentions, I would have already ended your pitifully short life. But I've come to be as curious about you as you, no doubt, are curious about me.
Follow me, Count.
I will say that just a little nod to the second movie, Tales of Dracula, Dracula Meets the Wolfman. One of the things that was said was my fangs seem to always be on. So that doesn't always happen in Tales 2.
I would introduce you, but we never really did come up with a name for him.
So, my good doctor, perhaps we have more in common than you realize.
I don't follow.
I must procreate by taking young maidens and making them vampires like myself. Your family procreates by its own unique means.
Let's be clear, he is the experiment. You may consider him a monster, but I was raised with him as if you were my own brother.
I am touched by your close-knit family sentiments.
No.
I ask again, what could you possibly want with my blood?
The idea of personal space is foreign to you, isn't it? I'm sure you're familiar with the doctor's favorite tool, a syringe that can take from one and give to another.
My blood in the veins of this.
Now, I don't go around insulting your relatives.
How dare you? I am of noble birth, and this thing is an abomination.
He can understand everything you say. And first of all, I didn't know it was your blood. I thought it was some common graveyard vampire. But thanks to your blood, this abomination is now immortal and indestructible. Be calm, brother. Let's not be impetuous. Besides, our guest was just leaving, wasn't he?
Doctor, I thought we could settle this in a more amicable way. Or perhaps an alliance. You have no idea the forces with which you are playing. I see now that I will have to destroy your creation while you watch.
Over my dead body.
If you insist.
Step one. Step 2. Step 3. Done. You know, he is an abomination there, but if you got one of my wigs that I have on sale for $29.99 on WayneWJohnson.com, he would be part of the club.
Rick. Rick. Victoria. Rick. Victoria.
Find me your most formidable opponents.
Ooh. Now, how did he do that? Or I do that, so to speak?
Well, theoretically, wouldn't he be just as strong as Dracula?
I think Frankenstein is actually stronger than Dracula, but I'm not sure Joe would know the answer to that by far. This is interesting because this ending actually is a little different than what the original ending was supposed to be. The original just had me saying, by Satan's beard, if I cannot destroy the creature, I will most certainly control it, or something along those lines.
He knows I'm here.
But, of course, we had to bring in Van Helsing, which is Dracula's greatest nemesis. And the reason why they never show me getting out of the coffin is because I'm too big for the coffin. So,
that makes sense.
Doctor.
But it looks awkward anyway, so.
You should have left me alone.
I told you the first time we met, I would follow you to the end of the world, Dracula.
Well, you have come to the end of the world, Doctor. More Wolfsbane, Doctor?
No! Holy water!
You almost took my makeup off.
On my soil. I am much stronger here. You will pay for driving me from England, Doctor.
There's that hand gesture like Angela, and we pause now for a commercial break.
Or is it?
Or is it?
I like that.
Yeah. There was actually a lot of people, there were people who liked it, and there was people who didn't. And that is a tidbit that some people might go like, what? But it's like, one thing with the mythos, and again, this is something Joe could probably expound upon, is that as Dracula gets closer to his native soil, his powers actually increase. So certain things that may affect him elsewhere, like let's say in England, would be less effective or maybe ineffective on his native soil. So like they were saying, holy water works against Dracula, but as you can see there, it just kind of, you pisseth me off, kind of a thing, and maybe even the sunlight thing might be like that. Although in the book, when I made mention of that a while ago, in the Bram Stoker's Dracula was in England, and he was able to walk in the daytime with his powers greatly reduced, but he still was able to be out there. I think it was later on they started having the thing where he bursts into flames, or even like modern day, they explodes now when sunlight hits him, I guess. But then again, Dracula is supposed to be the king of vampires as well. He's supposed to be the strongest one. So again, that might be why he doesn't get affected like a lesser vampire would be, or a vampire that is created by him. And then it gets weaker as the line progresses and stuff. So I guess, again, that's something Joe would probably be able to talk for hours upon, because the guy is like a walking encyclopedia of all this stuff. And the same with Dwight and Ron. They know this stuff inside out, like I said before. Yeah, just another behind the scenes thing. So the Van Helsing stuff, and also that meeting with all the clergy.
Yeah.
That was all done right at the end, to where I didn't even know that stuff had been filmed. So when I went to the screening, it was like, oh, I didn't know. But then again, I also wasn't there for a lot of other scenes as well. So,
right.
So some of the scenes came. I was like, oh, okay. because some things change sometimes when you're filming with the script. Some things it's all of a sudden you realize you can't do for one reason or another, so something has to move along. And if you have really accurate notes and storyboarding and all that stuff like that, it doesn't cause too much of a problem, as opposed to maybe someone who keeps it all in their head and they try to do that, and then you're trying to remember everything, because ideally when you do a script, it should be it fits like a glove. I mean, it's very, very tight. It's like everything flows and everything, all the pieces come together. You take one piece out, it's going to not just affect that area where the piece came out, but also potentially other areas in the puzzle. So I had to do that with a movie I was involved with a couple of years ago. It's like I was asked to add an element in way after I'd already worked on the screenplay, and it was just like, you got to be kidding me. So, but I did it, but I had to go through the entire script and add little things without disrupting the story, without doing all that stuff, so it all flowed. So it was always, right from the beginning, you knew about this part, and then when it came to the part where the director specifically wanted, it all made sense getting there, instead of just popping it in there. And it's like, oh, we put it, why is that there? Oh, it's cool. No, it's not. So something just appearing out of nowhere with nothing like that, taking people out of the story. That's that, so.
Well, there's always, I'm sure you've been on set, there's always rewrites, sometimes you can go on set and the script's changed from the day before and something's added or something's taken away.
That's rarely happened to me, but I have heard stories about rewrites happening daily. That can really challenge you, and if you're on point with the character, then it's not that hard. But you still, again, it's a lot of that is about the flow. Okay, so you got to be careful about that, because if you mess around with the flow too much, then that can also take people out of it as well. And for the people who are watching this and or going to watch it in the future and be like, oh my god, these guys were talking during the movie, well, that was something that I was told that was an option to do. That's why I was like, it's surprised and think, oh, we can talk, because actually the first movie I don't think we could talk the first time we did. This is take 2, because the first interview we did last Saturday, the audio was choppy, and then this part, like right here, the second part after the film, my audio was gone for some reason. We had no idea. It was like, so I'm sitting there, and I'm sure some people would love that. It's like, oh, we don't have to hear him talk, but
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened, so we decided to do this again.
Yeah.
It could have very well been on my end too. It could have been something to do with.
I will say this: if there's going to be a third time, that's definitely when that movie gets shown. It's definitely going to be like a director's cut, where I'm going to go off on everything. I am going to just make jokes throughout the entire film if we have to do this a third time. Okay, so most of them will be bad, but some of them,
I don't think we'll have to do it a third time. If we did, it would be strictly for fun.
Yeah, and maybe we can do that, because it's fun. I'm actually just a recent what's the word? Convert, I guess is the word, of reaction videos, but only certain ones. I mean, I love, when I was watching The Mandalorian, there's certain reactors that I like watching because it's fun. It's kind of like being with your buddy, and then it's kind of like you watch. To me, sometimes, for better or for worse, sometimes when I'm in a relationship, okay, this is one of the torturous parts, and we're watching a movie together, sometimes I kind of just, and if it's something especially I've seen before, I mean, I don't talk through it and everything unless we just start doing that, but a lot of times I'll just look over and be like, I'm waiting to see her reaction, and then it's fun to see some of it, especially when it's something that's genuine and something that is like if it's a scary part, seeing somebody reacting genuinely to that, or if it's a funny part. The WandaVision series that's currently on right now.
Oh yeah, we're watching that now.
Yeah, I mean, episode 5 is coming up. I've been watching that ever since it's premiered and every Friday, and it's just like, wow. I mean, it's a slow burn. So some people may not, they watch maybe the first or second, and especially these days with people with their, they want everything like yesterday or even the day before, and they don't want, they almost want to figure out everything. It's like, video games in the past, you had to really spend your time and figure it out. Now it's like you got all the cheat codes online. So if you get too impatient, you can just get the cheat code and bam, you're through. You don't get that with this series. And and it's funny because they're kind of going into the horror things a little bit, which makes sense because Doctor Strange 2 would be the next movie that kind of follows this. Supposedly there's rumors of Mephisto or Ghost Rider coming in, so there's more horror. And the director, I can't remember his name, but he's the director for Doctor Strange 2 is the guy who did all the Evil Dead movies. Sammy. Yeah, he's the guy that's directing Doctor Strange 2. So
nice.
You might see Bruce Campbell in there going, groovy. But I should say it like this. Yeah, I mean, but I don't watch a ton of them. I mean, there's only certain ones that I kind of watch, because otherwise it's too much. And that takes up a lot of time as is right there. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, I deviated totally from your question or what we were talking about originally.
That's
So,
that's all right. Actually,
while doing a simulated cocaine snort, they're going. Yeah, sinuses are going up again.
Yeah, well, yeah, I have it tonight pretty bad, but we've been watching WandaVision too, so it's actually I think it's moving along pretty fast.
It's starting to now. With episode 4. Yeah, it's catching everybody up. Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, we'll switch gears from that and
Tales of Dracula again.
Tales of Dracula. So let's talk about physicality on set.
Okay.
When to be physical, when to tone it back a little bit, because you've said before that you've been on some sets where you've gotten injured and you've really had to.
Oh yeah.
You worked with actors that were physical. You've been physical, and you've had to kind of learn how to dial it back a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about.
Well, when I first started acting, the only experience I really had. Joe just piped in here, by the way, said, "Thank you for the showing of Tales of Dracula 2015. Thank you to myself and all the cast for making both films come to fruition." Thank you, Joe. It was great working with you and everybody that was involved, and for both Tales 1 and Tales 2. And if there's a Tales 3, I hope I'm still there. Like all of a sudden my hair falls out, and it's like, oh well, he's now Nosferatu. that's the beginning. But going with what I was saying, when I first started acting, I mean, the only real experience, I didn't really have a lot of acting experience growing up. My first time acting, any type of acting really, was in a Spanish class in 11th grade, and we had to do a commercial, and I had a cereal commercial to do, and for some reason I decided to wear a ski mask and then put it looked like a Jason mask, but it was actually a karate mask on top of that, and doing martial art moves against a box of cereal while speaking in rapid Spanish. So hopefully I was speaking so fast that the instructor wouldn't catch any errors. So I did that, and did very well, got a great reaction from it, which actually was the start of me wanting to do acting. And because at the time my peer group was almost all local musicians or people who followed local musicians, so I was kind of being drawn in that direction. But the acting bug had hit me at that point. And even though we did a music video for the next project besides the cereal commercial, and I got some response with that too, but not as much, because number one, we were lip syncing to Tequila, which there's no lyrics, so there's no lip syncing. So here I am, I'm Major League Kiss influenced / Paul Stanley influenced. So I had like bad Ultimate Warrior makeup on with a alto saxophone, shaking my ass like Paul Stanley on stage to Tequila. And by the way, if anybody has either one of those videos, please let me have a copy of it, because I can't find them anywhere. I think they've been destroyed. unfortunately, but I would love to have them because I mean, I was also like railed as a thin. I was probably about my thighs were probably about the size of my wrists. So but that was like in 11th grade, and I got the bug. And then the next year I took a acting course, and I breezed through that. I'm not saying acting is easy, but I just seemed to, it was like a natural affinity to me. But then I chose music because between acting and music, because it just seemed to be the path that would lead me to get laid. That was basically it. You know, and peer pressure as well. But that was really it, because, you know, when you're 17, 18, and back then I got like a bowl haircut, very short hair, bowl haircut, tiger belt buckle, jeans, wearing sweatbands as wristbands, and the only thing changing was my shirt every day. You know, it's major chick magnet, right? And I will say, and one of the bands I wore, you know, I wore spandex in, and that I will say spandex is God's gift to men when it comes to women at that time. If you have the body for it, you know, at that time period, bam, even, and actually it wasn't even the time period, we were already way past spandex in rock music by that point, but my band didn't get the memo, so it was called Front Row. So we wore that like during the height of grunge. We were doing Smells Like Teen Spirit on stage wearing full spandex, so go figure. But we were doing well. We were, you know, that was a very successful band in the Central New York area at the time. And then I was doing all that, and then I was in a band called Four Large Men throughout the 90s, which did very well, again, in CNY. And then eventually I started my own band, Caroline Blue. And the thing was, so the only experience I really had was as a performer in front of crowds. So I wasn't afraid to be in front of, I've been in front of a camera most of my life. Even when I was a little kid. I mean, my father always had a camera. He's always taking pictures of me and stuff. And then that graduated to video. So most of my life has been in front of a camera. So I really don't have a problem with being in front of a camera at all. And I just seem to gravitate also towards the creative elements and stuff. So when we get to acting, the only thing I had as experience was as a performer. I didn't really have any training. And I had my look, which, you know, I didn't want to rely on that forever, but at the time I could bank on it. I was in much better shape than I am now, younger, of course. And and I seem to, I think I said this before about type. You know, as an actor, it's very important to discover what type. So you're not going around chasing after roles that, you know, if you're the boy next door, you're never, or unless you're wearing something that covers up your face, you're never going to really be the big bad villain, unless there's a twist.
Right.
But even then, most of the time, and for some reason, I just seem to, the villain roles just naturally come towards me. It's usually people, either that or the stoner roles, you know, which is amazing. I've never smoked pot in my life. But everybody wants me to do the voice, man, and it's really cool when I can do the voice. But then, you know, this wouldn't work. Like if I was Dracula right now and said, you have spilled the blood of my blood, man. You're gonna pay for that, dude. I'm gonna take a crucifix and I'm gonna break it in 3 parts, dude. And then I'm gonna go have some cheesy poofs on the side. You know, that obviously it's not gonna work. But that went way too long. But you know, it's that's all I had. So I needed the experience. And what I lacked in training, I had in drive and a willingness to take any part at the time, especially in the beginning. And it's kind of interesting because, like, there were some major movies in my career that I did my very first year, most notably Night of Something Strange, which, just to deviate just a touch here, that's a modern horror movie. A lot of gore. I am the lead sex zombie, so to speak. There's a lot of gore. There's a lot of sex jokes, sex, toilet humor, gory, bodily fluids. It's crazy. And don't take my word for it, though. Go watch it. But don't watch the PG-13 version that's online, because that's neutered. You know, all the good stuff is pretty much wiped out. It's boring without that. But you know, so I did that, but I didn't do Tales of Dracula until like about 3 years later. Okay, but by then I had kind of gotten more experience. I started gravitating, doing more supporting and lead roles, but it was A lot of things were still based on my presence, on my look, and the physicality of the roles. Like Night of Something Strange was an extremely physical film because I was a zombie. So, and I do have like I do subscribe in part to method acting. I just don't believe in having it on 24 hours a day because you annoy the hell out of everybody around you. So I think it's better, in my opinion, like, but what do I know? Who am I to say this, right? But, I think it's better if you could just shut it on and off where, so then that way, because a lot of acting is really the interaction between one person and another. And then if you add more people, so be it. But it's mainly that interaction because, it's, or the situation, okay? Or, I should say. So, but the physicality, and when you're in indie movies, most of the time, definitely anything that's non-union, more often than not, you have to deal with like falling on movies. Actually, a lot of indie filmmakers, that's more often than not, that's where they start because in some ways it is easy to make it's easy to make the basics. It's not so easy to go beyond that because it gets a little harder because now, there is an audience for who just wants the gore. When it comes to, or boobs, that's the primary audience. That's the stereotype of horror movies is boobs and gore. As long as you got one, hopefully both, you got your audience there. But, if you can get the storytelling in there, you get the quality in there, you get all that stuff in there, you put stuff in there that people is like, oh, they're not expecting stuff. That's where you start climbing up the ladder and start getting more of a reaction and getting more of the quality and stuff like that than just a simple gore fest with boobs. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that per se, but I mean, per se, but but it does get. I mean, I've been, for the longest time, Night of Something Strange was the hardest movie that most physical movie, I should say, that I'd ever done. And that got replaced a couple of years ago by a movie I was in called Johnny Z, which hasn't been released. It's also by the same director, Jonathan Straiten. And he's very meticulous when it comes to filming and stuff. So sometimes we'll end up doing like 20 plus takes of the same scene, over and over again because he wants to make sure he gets it right. And then he usually wants a backup, and usually, more often than not, the backup is better than the first take. So, but you always want to have a backup, and it ends up like the running joke is the backup of the first take, of the fifth take, of the backup of the third take.
Yeah, I've been looking for that to be released. We actually, to go back for a second, we actually have a clip of physicality and it's a quick clip that was included on the DVD, kind of a behind the scenes. And it's Dracula taking care of business. So we'll show it real quick, and I think it explains the physicality of in the moment acting. So here we go.
Cut.
Okay.
Course. That there was a couple of things with that. And well, number one, thank you for not showing a clip of me getting injured because that does happen. That it usually goes like this. I usually break something on set. Almost any set I'm in, I break something or, rip even if it's just costume ripping or something like that. And then usually following that kind of close by is I injure myself in some way. And then rarely, I accidentally injure a fellow cast member or even sometimes a crew member. Now, I want to make a note of this before anyone gets any wrong ideas with, certain filmmakers and stuff like that. All these filmmakers, that I've worked with and experienced, they're all very cautious. They all want to make sure that, safety is the primary concern. They don't want anybody walking out, injured, broken bones or anything like that. They do care, but sometimes, for one reason or another, it just doesn't happen. Especially I've been on union sets, okay, and I've seen the precautions that they take there because it's union, and you have to, in a way, you have to have either a trained stunt person or you have to have stuff in place so you don't get injured. But sometimes on an indie set, you don't have that luxury. One of the first movies I ever did, I got shot on a parking lot, and of course it's concrete. So I had to fall on the concrete with no padding or anything, 7 or 8 times. And it's interesting because I also have martial art training in my skill set. So, in part you know how to fall, but you can't do the whole thing, what you're trained and stuff like that. But it's interesting when it comes to falling, I find that the best policy is you don't think. You just let it happen. Let your body take care of it. Now you don't want your head smashing all over the place and stuff like that. But actually, one of the Friday the 13th Jason guys, the latest one, the real big guy, like 6'8" or something like that. I can't remember his name. I think a close friend of mine she loves horror, and she said she was listening to a podcast and said that he basically said the same thing. He said if you think about it, that's when you get injured, because now you're trying to stop, trying to take precautions, and you're overthinking.
Right.
In Johnny Z, for example, that was the most physically demanding role that I've played to date now. And I know, like, for example, there were times where I had to run into a wall, dozens of times. And the only way I would know the wall is hitting me is when it hit. I had nobody flagging me. There's no indication. I was just running backwards full speed, and then when the wall hit me, and I reacted the way I reacted, which meant falling to my knees. Now I had these hard shell military type knee pads on, those hard plastic gel type things, and I'm so glad I had them, because if I did not have them, I know for sure I would have shattered both my kneecaps. From the there's a video out there that I actually have from that shoot where I'm going like this, and you can see there's cuts on my elbows, because one of the takes I had to do is I'm charging after a guy's, going with both my forearms, and he ducks, and I slam into the wall. Well, of course, me wanting to make sure everything looked, as good as possible and stuff, I said, okay, we'll just take him out of the way, and I'll just run straight into the wall. And I did, and I put some holes into the wall. And it's an old house, and you can see there's cuts and stuff. And then, like an idiot, I'm taking rubbing alcohol and just putting it right on there. And, nobody would go near me because they thought they'd catch AIDS or something. I don't have AIDS, but I mean, it's just like joking around. Oh, we don't want to be near you, Wayne. That's probably because I didn't have Axe on that day. But it's that's on YouTube. That's on my YouTube channel, WWJ Official. Actually, that video, as well as many more, and I'm going to be adding a lot more stuff too as time goes on, because there's a lot of stuff I have to convert from video to digital, so that's going to take a lot of time. And I want to get the right stuff. Is my hair all over the place here? Look at that. You got a big mohawk or something. What the hell?
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. It'll be the new hairstyle. That'll be the new set of wigs I'll have on my show, on my set.
Nobody's gonna notice.
Oh, everyone will notice at some point. But yeah, even like a movie like Tales of Dracula, like that part right there. Now, the guy I threw around, his name is Jay Novelli, and he plays Father Boris, and he's a pro. He adjusted right away and stuff like that. But that particular scene was the last scene of a night where what had happened was we had the whole thing in the lab at the end. Okay, that was supposed to be filmed, and I was supposed to be there on set by 7 o'clock at night. They actually started filming around noon, a bunch of other stuff in that area. But unfortunately, I also had to film with another company out in Utica. So you got Binghamton, you got Utica, okay? And I told them that, and I said, I got to leave by around 4 o'clock because I got to get home, I got to shower and everything, because the character I'm playing in Utica, he had greased up hair. That wouldn't look good as Dracula. So, but of course, the guy was like, oh yeah, that's no problem and everything like that. Then proceeded to take me out, carpooling no less, to an area that I couldn't get back from until he was done. Well, that's kind of like his motto. He just doesn't care. That he's actually said that he doesn't care about so many different things. It's, whatever. But I didn't get out of there till like 6. Now, it's like, okay, my hair's all greased up and stuff like that. And I'm like, do I chance going down there and washing it down there? Or do I go back home to Syracuse, wash up, and then go? And I decided to go home just in case. And I'm glad I did, because when I got to the location in Binghamton, I found out there's no running water on set. So I would have been stuck having the greased up hair as Dracula. It would have been stupid. But unfortunately, I didn't arrive on set until 11 at night. So I kept a lot of people waiting for the longest time, and I still feel bad about that. But it was out of my control because, again, I couldn't get out of there and the time I wanted to get out of there. Because if it was that point, you know, with everything that was going on, I would have said, look, I told you I got to be gone by 4. You know, I can maybe stretch it to 4:30, but I couldn't leave because I didn't have a vehicle. So I had to stay. So anyway, what happened was I got there, and, you know, Joe's is pretty much done up. It takes about, I think, 4 hours for him to get into that whole Frankenstein, 4 to 6 hours. I can't remember which one it was. And I get there, and all of a sudden one of my contacts starts acting up. It's the right one. And I'm in pain that entire night. That whole thing that's going on, my eye is irritating me, and I'm trying to work through it. And luckily they're white contacts, so you can't see much, because when I took that off, it's like even the air hitting it is like a razor blade scraping across your eye. And it was like that for hours afterwards. Yeah. But I've had that happen a couple of different shoots, and you make do. So we started by 11, and so in the whole fight that we did, all that stuff, that's probably why I was blowing lines, in part because I was so tired. That's not an excuse. I blow lines. It happens. You know, I'm not perfect.
It happens to the best.
Well, that's one thing I wish, just to deviate a little bit, I wish I had more theater training. That there's a reason why when, like, TV shows and soap operas, when they're looking for people, they concentrate more on theater people, because they have that memory. They can do it, and they can deliver the lines quick. You know, especially if you're a union actor, you're somebody who, you get the lines, you do them, and you go. Because if you're like on a TV soap opera, for example, you're always on the clock. Mm-hmm. You're constantly on. They will not tolerate somebody who takes too long. You know, and even in films, on a pro set, they won't. Usually, I think on a pro set, the most I've ever seen a take. How's that? Is 4 takes. You know, there might have been more that I'm forgetting, but I only remember. And after that 4th take, it was like, okay, guys, let's stop here. Let's find out why this is taking so long, because we're on a time budget here. Because especially on a union set, because you got to remember, they can't go. If they go over, then everybody gets time and a half. You know, and the clock is ticking on that as well. And when you have an extremely large budget, and when this happened, it was on a $20 million movie that I played an extra in early in my career, called To Have and to Hold, which unfortunately has not been released. You know, when you're dealing on a $20 million, budget, and you got they built a huge revolutionary era fort, and it's all populated. So you got all these people plus all the crew on top of that. Yeah. Once they all go over the time, and you got to pay them time and a half, that racks up real quick. So money-wise. Yeah. So, and Tails, so when I threw Jay like that, I was so beat and tired, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, you're in character, you're Dracula, so you're stronger than a human, so but at that point, I think I was just trying to give as much as I could, because, it would at least look kind of cool, because it would look like I'm really throwing him, and unfortunately I kind of did use a little too much force, but those things happen.
Yeah.
And then what happened was, it's funny because when I started, okay, so I didn't have much control when I started. And I'm not saying I have 100% control, because sometimes when you get in that mindset, depending on the character, sometimes you can go a little too much. Okay. And I was on the set on a movie where the guy, it's like, haha, see, how you were, actually this was on Johnny Z. Okay. But on Night of Something Strange, I was known for going so full out and crazy, because you're a mindless zombie. So you just want to kill. And I took that to heart. But then, by the time we got to Johnny Z, it's like I kind of learned that you didn't have to do that as much. But then I'm out working with a newer actor, and he had the same mindset I used to have. So he was going at me full blast, even though people were saying, "Hey, 50%, just kind of calm down, go." And I was like, boom, he's right on me again. So I had to react that way too, because otherwise I'd get steamrolled over. But intensity doesn't always have to be so physical and showy. Like gearing this back to Tales of Dracula, one of the lessons I actually learned from Joe. Okay, when I read the script for the first time, there's a lot of exclamation points with Dracula's dialogue, and I'm like, do you want me to be shouting this stuff? I mean, because you got exclamation points all over the place, and I'm going, no. He said, no, it's your intensity. It's just. He's the one that kind of illuminated to me, like, look, intensity is great when you're, you got miles of outward intensity. You can just bring it, and that's not a problem. But that's not always called for. You don't always do that, and it's actually more impressive the other way from the inside. So instead of like, it's like that. It's just you're looking and you say, "This will stop now." Something like that. I mean, that's not the best example, but something a little more intense, and that's actually closer. In some ways, that's actually closer to modern filmmaking, where they, it's kind of funny if you go from the silent era up to now. It's like the silent era. Obviously, you had to be more showy and more intense, and had to really show things because there's no sound, so you had to show through physical action what was happening, telling the story that way. And as time went on through various means and stuff like that, the intensity started going inward more to where, from what my research has shown, a lot of times they like to see audiences and reviewers and stuff like that. It's like the intensity in one's eyes, like almost like, what are they thinking? And how, it's almost like you could, if you're watching someone's performance, and it's like you can almost tell in their head the conflict that's going on within them, and that's something I'm working towards to do more and more if I can. You're always trying to improve your craft. You're never above practice. You're never above working on improving what you can do. So that's my long-winded approach to intensity. And see, I did bring it back to Tales of Dracula. So
yeah, you never stop learning as an actor.
Well, it's interesting because there's some people that there's a couple different schools of acting. I mean, there's some people that every character they play is just an extension of themselves, and that's fine. And if you can get through by doing that, that's great. To me, that's kind of boring because I play myself every day. It doesn't sound right, but I mean, you know what I mean. It's like Geez, Wayne, no wonder you don't have a girlfriend. It's like, but it's one of those things that I lost my place there making that stupid joke. I lost my place there. What was I saying? Oh God, I can't remember. I legitimately cannot remember. It's like I scratched the record. Now I can't get back to where it was. What was I talking about? I remember the part about me not having the girlfriend because that's why. But why was that? Shit, I can't remember. Damn it. Oh, the people like the way with acting. I mean, and playing yourself all the time. Okay. The point I was trying to make was I could do that anytime I want. I mean, it's not as fun as playing something that, being able to play someone that you're not and being able to pull it off. That to me is always the goal. If I can get somebody to say, I didn't know that was you, or I knew that was you, but then as I'm watching the thing, it's like you disappeared and your character came into play. Right. I wasn't viewing you as, oh, that's just Wayne playing a role. That's like, let's say it's Dracula. Okay, that's not Wayne, that's Dracula. Or that's not, whatever the role is. And I've had that, I've been fortunate enough to have that compliment given to me a couple of times, which is really nice. It's very rewarding because that means I'm doing my job and all my hard work is
Paying off.
coming out good. And to me, it's just more, it's, just playing myself. I don't think it would work more often than not. And it's weird because, if somebody were to say, well, Wayne, you're just playing yourself on your films. Okay, so I'm a murderer, I'm a rapist, I'm a thief, I'm a liar, I'm a prince of darkness, I'm a sex zombie, I'm a Joker-like killer, I'm a demon, but, I'm not any of that stuff. For some reason, I just can fit into those roles easier than the good guy. I've played the good guy. Like you said, you saw the Star Trek stuff. And, so, and it depends on, the script and everything like that and stuff. But I've played even the victim, although some of that stuff, I don't think any of that stuff got released. There's a lot of stuff that I've been in that hasn't been released. Either it's never going to be released or it's like, well, we're waiting.
Yeah.
There's several films from 2011, all the way back then, that have not been released. And I'm under contract with a couple of them where I can't put out photos or anything. So it's like, oh.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the next film, Tales of Dracula meets the werewolf. Let's get
the Wolfman. Yeah, Tales of Dracula.
Werewolf, Wolfman.
Yeah. This is going to center on Dracula and the Wolfman. It has a lot of stuff coming back from the first movie, but also some newer elements as well. And I did say this in the beginning also, we're starting to go a little, not much, but just a little towards what I termed the De Niroverse. Okay, so there's going to be some stuff, because a lot of stuff, when I remember talking to Joe, and he was saying that one of the reasons for the Tales of Dracula series was to answer questions that were never answered during the Universal run. There were certain things I believe I might be wrong about this. Again, Joe is really the expert with all this stuff, so I might be wrong about this, but I don't think in the Universal movies there ever was an actual film which showed the first meeting of Dracula and the Wolfman, not a formal meeting. It was more like, okay, here they are, bam, they're there together, fighting each other or something else, kind of like the first movie, in a way. Joe would be able to fill in the blanks about there, but there's going to be, you find out what happens with that cliffhanger, for example. Okay, that's answered. There's some new characters brought in. I can't really say anything about that. I don't want to do any spoilers or anything like that.
Right.
But it was great. Ron Chamberlain came back and did all the makeup and everything again. And it's interesting because I got a new outfit. It's closer to the classic Bela outfit, even with the red cape and everything like that. One thing that was interesting about that is, see, there's actually two different types of capes. You have the normal cape, and then you have one where on the ends there's these long, narrow wooden rods. So when he lifts up like this, it automatically has that shape that you need to do. So all you had to do is just hold them, raise up, and you had that shape right there. It was classic. Nice. The problem with that is that was the only cape available now, because for some reason or another the other one got sold off. Plus it was a different color anyway. That was like a purple silver, and I really wish I think Joe sold it off for some reason, and I wish I had the money at the time to do it, because I would have bought it myself. Wow. But we had this one, but the poles kept getting in the way. We actually had to cut the poles out, halfway through during some fight scenes and stuff like that. So there were some people that I mentioned this in the midst of the movie. One thing that was a kind of a complaint. I mean, again, my image is the one that's the furthest away from the classic look. Right. Between the hair, the eyes, the fang placement, and the size, and also just the overall thing. I mean, but Joe always he told me when we were doing this, it's like, his two things that he told me to focus on was Bela Lugosi and Frank Langella from 1979. Okay, that Dracula, which arguably is the start of the seduction Dracula. the romantic one, the one who is like, oh, he's looking for his lost love. Whereas before that, it was Dracula was this evil creature, this undead creature that, you know, thirsts for blood and all that stuff, like your intro was proclaiming.
Right.
So he wanted to return to that, and I just wanted to say, in case it wasn't on the first part of the last interview and stuff like that, I definitely want to say this. Yes, there's inspirations with the Frank Langella Dracula movie, but you will not see lava lamps in this, in either one of those movies. You will not see anything like that. Frank has been on record saying he hates that so much. I think this part I don't know for sure, but I think he was threatening to walk off. It was just so 70s, you know. But no, there's nothing like that in these two films at all. No sparkling or anything like that either. You know, so sorry, Twilight fans, but it's just the classic stuff, okay? But it is starting to deviate a little bit. There are certain things that are starting to happen, and it's starting to open a little bit. I'm not saying that, you know, all of a sudden, you know, it's not like all of a sudden I can rip my head off and throw it around and stuff like that. No, nothing like that. But there's some things that are just some little touches here and there, which we'll see how the fans react to that. But we'll see what happens, because if we go to a third one, I think the DeMuro verse is going to open even a little bit more. But this second one is concentrating mostly on Dracula and the Wolfman.
Nice.
Maybe a few little surprises here and there and stuff like that. That is almost done, actually. I know I probably have to do some ADR, because the last time I was there filming, which was around November of last year, it was kind of amazing, because I thought we had to film outside because the scene was at a graveyard outside. It turned out they made a graveyard inside this like large building. So I had the dirt, everything was there and stuff like that. They built a set there, so everything was contained. So we didn't have to worry about weather at all. What we did have to worry about, and unfortunately this is why I got to go in again and do some audio direct replacement or ADR work, voiceover work, is because there were cars going by constantly. So you'd hear them, you know, it'd be like, you will not, or like, you will pay, beep, beep, beep. You know, it's like, okay, I will run my fists through your, okay.
Isn't that always the case? That's usually what happens.
You know what, the worst case I've ever had of that is with Star Trek New Voyages, because everyone in town knew about the filming, and it had actually gotten so much publicity. I mean, I think they were on the cover of TV Guide at one point, their production in the 2000s, that people were actually not only driving by but honking their horns. So, and that was annoying as hell, you know, because it's like, yeah, you know, you guys are having a laugh and stuff like that, but we're retaking takes after take after take, and a lot of these places are really hot, and I just I'm a sweating machine. So you know, I'm hot always. I've got a fan on me right now, actually, because I just heat up like nobody's business. And, you know, I'm always, if I'm wearing makeup, it's always running off me, you know, or peeling off of me, or if it's an appliance or prosthetics or something like that. So, you know, with Dracula too, I mean, there were times, you know, Ron was right there. He goes, God damn it. You know, he'd be like, I'm here. You're sparkling. You know, yeah. Oh yeah. And sometimes it was like almost close to a total reapply, because, you know, if I'm like fighting, obviously there's going to be sweat there too. And, you know, on just the physical movements or anything like that, plus the hair, you know, there's just something about my hair that doesn't like to be tamed. So it loves to get in my face. I don't know. I guess my hair thinks, you know, hey, let's become Cousin It, and just, you know, all the time. And I've had it pinned. I've had hats on it, all this stuff, and they all go flying out at some point. I don't know why. When I'm playing live with Caroline Blue, there's countless pictures of my hair in my face. I did a movie one time where I had this wonderful makeup job done on me with prosthetics and all this stuff. And we were filming it, and it's weird because it came out this way. This is how I found out, because I watched the final movie, and the part when I was on screen with the makeup on, my hair was all over it. You barely saw it.
Oh, wow.
But instead of doing retakes and fixing my hair and all that stuff, he just kept it in there. So
Yeah. Well, sometimes, you know,
they don't care.
go with what you got.
Well, well, yes and no, because
Yes
he
and
could have
no.
easily just said, he's looking through the screen.
Let's
He's seeing
redo it.
this, it's like, let's just redo it. I mean, does that look good to you? I mean, that if it, but it is what it is, sometimes you do that. That's a beautiful shot of me as the penguin. Yeah, that's an example of the look, although that's not, God, that's not a flattering angle. But it's, I'm vain, Wayne, whatever you want to call it. But that's my own fault. So, it's the Tales 2 definitely has the more classic Bella style. Also, one thing, like, I way deviated from this. This was my original point, was that we did get a little criticism, from the showings of the film and stuff, and one of them was that it seemed like my fangs were in all the time. Anytime I was talking, anytime I was on screen, the fangs were just constantly out, and that's not. They were like, "Why is that?" And it's like, even I was kind of in my head. I never asked, but it was kind of like, "Well, is that part of the new look, for this Dracula?" And it turns out it wasn't. So in the second movie, unless I'm in a very stressful situation and or fighting, the fangs don't come out. So that's more closer. I mean, it's yeah, because I mean, normally we wouldn't have the fangs on all the time, but for some reason we did. Actually, a very funny take. We were doing this long monologue of mine. It had to be one of my monologues. Okay, we're doing this, and we had our sound guy, Tom. He, we're doing all this stuff, and all of a sudden he yelled cut. Not the director, but he yelled cut, and he goes, "Isn't he supposed to be wearing fangs right now?" And it's like, we'd already done like several takes, already, and we were doing some more. And it's like, you're just noticing now that I'm not wearing fangs, and right now we're just talking, so I'm not supposed to be wearing fangs. So that was funny. I don't know if that got caught on film or not. That would be a wonderful thing to see on behind the scenes, but because we were all laughing, afterwards. Like, it's one thing to say that on the first take, like, hey, he's not wearing this and stuff, but after several takes, and then to say, hey, and he's right there, he's watching this whole thing. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's just one of those wonderful things, I guess. That's cool. I mean, that's it's all part of the game. It's all fun and stuff like that. That's me and Joe right there. Had a bunch of people taking pictures of us. That was from my last shoot. Both those pictures were from that. I think that was Jay Novell's picture, because I did have some, and I had some people take pictures using my camera. But I think I mentioned this before. If not, I'm one of those people that I take pictures all the time. But this time I actually didn't. I was actually just more. I'm not sure why, but I just let other people take pictures, and I figured I'd get copies of it later. Yeah. Because unfortunately, sometimes you don't. That is a sad thing. Sometimes you don't get that, and then you remember stuff, and it's like, oh, it would be nice to have that. I mean, there's a band situation which I won't get into, but I wish I had my camcorder there, and I didn't. So I said, from that point on, I will always have a camcorder at every show. And every Caroline Blues show has been filmed to date, except for one. And technically it has been, but right at the beginning, somebody hit the camera, and it didn't knock it over, but it knocked it to where it's just showing our feet. Oh. So the entire set is our feet. So.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you don't have somebody to run the camera, so.
It wasn't in the budget.
Oh, geez, yeah, that explains me a lot. There's a lot of things not in my budget. One day it will be, but right now, just like Grogu over here, he's in my budget. That's why I don't have a budget. But Yeah, but it was a blast filming on Tales of Dracula and Tales of Dracula 2. I mean, and I do hope there was talk of a third one. It depends on how this second one comes out. And actually, the third one, if I may say it, it will expand. If it does come to fruition, it is going to expand on Dracula.
So
at least from what I've heard. So
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Are you gonna audition for Mark as a werewolf?
Well, Joe keeps wanting me to play this like female shopper, and I keep telling him, Joe, first of all, your description of the female shopper, she's like a 42 DD. Okay, I'm bigger than I used to be, but I don't have no 42 DD. Two, I'm not exactly the right gender. Okay, not that necessarily matters. I actually did play in Johnny Z. I don't know if I got credited. I'll be credited for it or not. I did play a female doctor, but she was dead, and she's facing the wall, so it's my hair. And I actually somehow scrunched my body because the guy was like, "Oh my God, how did you do that? Because you look like as thin as a normal woman." And my shoulders are way out there. It's like I don't even know how I did it myself. I contorted myself somehow, so from the rear, I look like a woman. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it's okay.
I'm trying not to envision that thought. So
yeah, I mean it's yeah. Well, it's my I post those reface videos and I put my face on men and women because it's just it's funny to me, and I try to be entertaining to people, and and it's like some people get offended by some of that stuff, and it's just like, oh my God, but I mean, I don't mean to, but it's just, to me it's funny. But no, I haven't heard anything from there. I think the main is the werewolf, and they got somebody already for that. So see, first of all, I don't know if it's classic werewolf or if it's modern werewolf. So I don't know if he's classic. This is probably another creature in the Demiroverse if it's that way. And so it would definitely be wiser to keep me unless I was coming in as Dracula. But if it's like a totally different horror movie and stuff, I really haven't heard anything about it, except that I know that he was filming it, and I know he has auditions, but I think the only role that even came close was like a local sheriff, and I think it was something, and that I've played sheriffs and policemen even with the long hair. I have it tied back really tight and everything like that. But I mean, if Joe needs me in the film, I'm sure he would call me and let me know if he had any ideas for me and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to these days with COVID and everything like that. It is kind of hard to do any type of filming. Yeah. My hat's off to anybody who does it. I mean, like if you go on my page, WayneWJohnson.com, shameless plug, and go to acting, and the first drop-down menu is the chronology under acting. And you can see all the acting things I've done, and that includes music videos. So it's going all the way back to 1992, I think. Okay. And you'll see all this huge list. And then when I started acting in 2011, the first 2 or 3 years of that, there's a ton of roles because I was willing to do anything. A lot of extra roles and all this stuff just to get my foot in the door, try to make contacts, learn how to be on an actual set and all that stuff, the etiquette and everything else. But as it started getting less, because what was happening was I wasn't doing as much extra work. I was saying, look, I want to do lead roles or supporting roles, like major supporting roles, not just, it depends on the film. I mean, if WandaVision called me up, for season 2, if there is one, and said, hey, we need you as a butler for like a second. Yeah. Okay. That's Marvel, or, for something like that. But if it's something like indie, that's like, it's like I've done that, and in some ways, and this is weird because it sounds egotistical, but there's really no way I can say this without coming across in a bad light. So I'll just say it anyway. I do have a fan base, and they want me, a lot of them, I should say, they like to see me in these, lead or supporting roles because I've established myself as that's what I want to do. Okay. That's what I'm going for all the time. I don't always do it, but then, and then if I make an announcement and it's like, you see me for 5 seconds as like an extra somewhere, it's kind of like, okay, well, is something going wrong with his career? And especially if there's a couple. Now, sometimes you got to do this you got to pay the bills and stuff like that. And there was a couple of years ago where I did like 4 or 5 higher indie local films, just extra work because I needed the money. So I just did that, and one of them, more often than not, you get cut out completely, but you still get paid because they're union sets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So even though I'm being paid non-union, so that's another reason to go union because you get paid a lot more. It's also safer most of the time because I have been on union sets, I've worked on them and stuff like that, and it's a wonderful experience. But and I'm not saying anything wrong with people who like to do extra work. I mean, and that's all they want to do. More power to you. That's great. It's actually, it's a great life. Whether it's extra work, stand work, any of that stuff, that's great because it's necessary, it's needed, and it's important. But it depends on what your goals are, your individual goals. If that's all you want to do, I mean, you can go work extra, for example. You're pretty much going to be fed for free all the time. You get paid, and you get to be on the set, and you can talk, you can brag to your friends and all this stuff, and you can say, yeah, I was in this movie, I have some friends who were like in some high-level movies. Unfortunately, they were only extra roles, but for them that was great, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. If for somebody like me, I don't, you get to a point where if you start playing these extra roles too much, you get known as that extra guy.
Right.
Okay. And I don't want to be known as that. I mean, I can't control what other people think and stuff like that. But, on top of that, there was a forum on a Buffalo Facebook group, or acting group. Okay. And a guy posted on there, and I felt so bad for him because he said, okay, I've done several extra roles. Okay. I'm ready for some lead and support roles. And I felt so bad for the guy because the guy just shot himself in the foot. Because what casting director, I've played a casting director a couple of times too for projects, so it's a good experience for an actor to do because you're on the other side now. Okay, so it's good to get that experience. It's just like extra work. If you want to be a higher lead or support guy on a major set, it's good to be an extra role on those sets so you know the etiquette and how things go, how things work and operate. But I felt so bad for this guy because what casting director is going to look at his resume that's all loaded with extra work and out of that say, okay, he's ready. He or she is ready for lead or supporting work. It's not going to happen. They're going to look at that and say, okay, this is all you do is extra work. Good. You're ready for extra work. There you go. If they even do that. And the thing is, if you notice when you look at casting calls all over the place online, okay, most of the time, more often than not, and even more than that, when you do that, it's not for the lead roles. It's not even for the major roles. It's either a day player role or a featured role or an extra role. Okay, because the casting directors and all that stuff, they're going through agents on the higher level. Like let's say the new Doctor Strange movie. You're not going to see major support role offerings anywhere. Okay.
They've already figured those roles out.
Well, it's not only that. The agents are already pushing all these people, and first of all, it's a business. They want to make money, so they're going to want somebody who basically draws eyes, which is somebody who's bankable, basically. Okay, I've heard from so many people, for example, where they want to start a series, like a TV series or something like that, and they go, okay, we'll do it, we'll film it with all these people, then we're going to, get the TV series sold to like Netflix or HBO or something like that, and then we'll be able to take everybody with us and get there, and everything will be great. Well, there's a couple of problems with that. Number one, if you can get the interest of Netflix, and you do not have a name actor on your set, anyone who's not a name actor will be replaced. They're not going to bankroll a project, something like Netflix. They're not going to bankroll a project with no-name actors. Like everybody's a no-name actor. Okay? They got to have some people in there that have drawing power. Okay? Ghost in the Shell. I mean, that's Japanese, right? But they had Scarlett Johansson in that. That's part of the reason right there. And plus, she's a good actress. So, I mean, it's like, there's that too. But I'm just saying that I'm sure one of the decisions for that role was she's bankable. She's one of the Avengers. She's automatically going to draw eyes to the film. They're automatically going to and that's a part of the whole acting thing that people don't seem to either know about or want to know about, is the business side. I'm really into all that stuff. It's actually not that different from music. There's a lot of similarities with all that stuff. So it's an interesting thing where you have to, again, just going back to the other point, there's nothing wrong with doing extra work and all this stuff if that's what you want to do. If you want to go higher than that, get some stuff, but then as soon as you can, wipe that stuff off your resume, preferably with lead and supporting roles, because that shows, okay, this person is going for a lead role. Okay, he's played several lead roles in these projects, in these higher level projects. They know what it's about. They know what is required. They know how to bring it to the table. We're going to give that person a chance, And then if you actually get to the point where you're bankable and everything like that, a lot of times people will just come up to you and just personally say, "Hey, we want you for this role," and then the scripts become like actor bait, as opposed to masturbate. But it's just like and it's like writing it so that the actor is like, "Yeah, I want to play that role." And that's a whole different thing with script writing, but that's a lot of times that's what you're doing as a script writer. You're writing something that an actor will look at it, actor, actress, male or female, doesn't matter. They're going to look at it and go, "Yeah, I want to do this. I want to make this happen. This role is cool." So even on a local level, on certain levels and stuff like that, I've kind of experienced that on both ends. So it's but I mean, like, and with the new werewolf movie, Mark of the Werewolf, I'm not sure. I'm not really privy to a lot of what's going on with that. So I'm kind of the wrong person to ask. That would definitely be a Joe DeMuro type question in regards to the background, whether it's classic or modern. But he, he's a monster guy. He loves playing the monsters and stuff. So it wouldn't be surprising if he was the werewolf, on this one. I don't know who the werewolf is in this one, or if there's more than one. If there's more than one, Joe, give me a call. If there's more than one, or if there's something else, because I wouldn't mind. I've never played I've come close to a werewolf type character in an indie film. It was a modified werewolf type character, and it was a small, like a day player type role. But,
I'll have to get in touch with Joe and see if he can give us any details.
Well, the first thing, just to prepare you, if you talk to Joe about me, the first thing he's going to do is roll his eyes. Oh my God, I got to deal with that wanker again. Oh my God. No.
So we're going to wind down the show. We've got a few minutes left.
Did I go past the 5-minute limit on everything?
On that note, closing comments. I know 2020 has been rough, COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's got everybody kind of messed up, but do you have any projects coming up this year, or that you know of, or you just kind of filling the waters and looking around, or?
Well, that's a two-part answer with that. Number one, I've got some personal family responsibilities to take care of, so I have to. That's my first priority. Everything else pales behind that. But after that, like last year, mainly because of COVID, but also because of what I just mentioned a moment ago, I was only able to do like a couple of things. Like I was mentioning before about my chronology page. If you get to 2020, there's only, I think, 1 or 2 things on there. I think it's just one thing. It was just one new thing. Because the other one was I was finishing Tales of Dracula. Dracula Meets the Wolfman. And I'm not 100% done with that yet, because I still got to do the ADR work, I believe, pretty soon, because I know they want to release it this year. and I've done ADR for them before. That I have no problem with ADR work. I actually love doing ADR work because I want to make sure I'm heard. Because my voice, for some reason, is always, for some reason, people just have a hard time hearing it. You know, when it's being recorded. I don't know why, but it just is what it is. But last year I did a movie called Cryptids, which is a horror anthology. It's like 5 or 6 different separate stories by different directors. That involves Justin Seelman and Zane Hirschberger and many other directors. But those are the 2 that were involved in indie film called The Barn, which did very well a couple years ago. And they're in the process of also filming The Barn 2. And I have been talking with Justin, and there is a possibility I might be somewhere. There's a lot of talk all the time. There's always talk between people saying, hey, you know, what do you think? Can you do? Are you available for this? And then you got to work out all the details and everything like that before everything goes on. And sometimes even while you're on set, you're still working out the details. But Cryptids was really cool because it was a 1-day shoot. I was a man in black, you know, like the movie Men in Black. So I played a man in black, and I was in a scene with Joe Bob Briggs, a famous critic, radio personality, and the guy's tall. He's taller than me, you know. And plus he was wearing cowboy boots on top of it, so yeah, he kind of towered over me. But we were in a scene and we had several exchanging of lines together and stuff. So that was really cool. But even then, when we were doing that, and that was back in last July, and they're going to finish up, and I'm presuming it's going to be filmed. It's going to be released this year. But even then, you know, the whole mask thing, 6 feet distance, the whole, you know, sterilizing of everything and stuff like that, that was all in effect. There's a couple of things that I think sometime this month, a film that I did 3 or 4 years ago called Zillafoot, which is in the vein of classic Ultraman and classic Godzilla from the 50s and 60s, those type of TV shows. And I'm speaking in English dub, so it's not matching my, and I'm actually, you know, talking in that way as well. And I'm kind of the comic relief, so it's a big switch for me. I'm playing a character called Dr. Musco, and I've got an actual mustache going on, and I've got this really old 60s like jacket on, and I'm a bumbling idiot doing stuff. And it's like, you know, the tribute to Tales of Dracula to the films of the 40s from Universal. This is like a tribute to those TV shows from the 60s and 70s from Ultraman specifically. That's supposed to be coming out on SRS Cinema LLC. It's already out on Vimeo. If you go on their site, you can download the movie right now. But I think there's actually going to be a DVD and possibly Blu-ray release of it sometime this month. They had made that announcement a month or 2 ago. I'm in conversation with Justin about it. There's going to possibly be some voiceover work with a short film that I was supposed to be in, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do it. But I still might be able to do some voiceover work. It's a short film called The Messy Boys. I'm supposed to be doing some voiceover work with that. That's Dirty Sweater Productions. There's a docudrama that I started back in 2016. He's still not done, but I guess he still needs to bring me and several other people back, including, I believe, Greta, who played Alona. I think she's also in that film as well. And I get to reprise that character. I just have to find the glasses and hope the outfits still fit from 2016 for that. That I think is supposed to be filmed sometime this year. But other than that, really not too much. Most of that is because of the COVID. Yeah. Because you just can't do it. And, you know, and then I do have plans at some point to go union. So once that hits, that pretty much cuts a lot of the indie stuff out per se. I mean, there's some of the higher level indie stuff that I've been on. They use union people, so that's not a problem. But like some of the lower level stuff, obviously that's not going to be able to fly because I'm not going to go fight. Was it Fight Corps? I think it's called. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to risk everything. I mean, why, you know, struggle so hard to finally be union and then just throw it away because, you know, the producer or director isn't willing to pay. You know, I mean, you can do free stuff for a while, but after a while, it's like, you know, it's...
You gotta make a living.
Well, it's not only that. I mean, it's
Got
you're
to.
you're providing a service, and if you just if you keep generosity has its limits. Yeah, I mean, after a while, it's like what I was saying before about extra work. It's like, oh, that guy will work for free. That guy will work for free. At some point, when it comes to acting and it's with music and any of the creative arts, at some point you have to learn to say no to certain things. And I've said it a lot within the last couple of years. And sometimes, I mean, and more often than not, it doesn't always happen. There's times where I'm like, damn, I wish I had taken that. That really did come out good. But there's a lot of times where I'll be like, man, I dodged a bullet there. But it's like, when you give so much and everything like that, and after a while, it just feels like people are trying to take advantage of you. Yeah. And you don't need that. I mean, your time, your energy, and your talent are worth something. And you have to make that, happen. And that starts with saying no. You don't want to be that guy who will take any role for free. I've actually there's a couple of people I know who do that, and they're known as people who will do that. And people take advantage of them, and I feel so sorry for them. And I've tried to talk to them a little bit. But, people learn at their own rate. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
You got to do what's best for yourself. And for me, like I said, when it comes to acting, I want to be playing, lead or major supporting roles more often than not. I mean, it doesn't mean I won't take something that's like day player or featured or something like that, but it has to be something, like the last time I played an extra role, and it got all on the cutting room floor, it wasn't even used, was for an episode of Succession. It was on season 2. So I went down to Albany, and I was there for several hours, and with HBO. And so I was on one of those sets. So that was a great experience. It's something I could have put on my resume
right.
But even then, after a while, that would disappear from my resume because it's like, it's an extra role. It's not what I want to do. Again, nothing wrong with people who do that and want to do that, but that's not my goal.
Right.
Okay. So, and I've done that. I've done so many extra roles and stuff, and it's like, and again, they're important, but after a while, it's kind of like, okay, I want to do more. So that's me.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure, and for the second time.
For the second time, you're going to say, God damn it, Wayne, you're talking way too goddamn much.
For the second time, it's been. I think this time's been much better. It worked out.
Yeah, well, especially if the audio comes out.
The audio is going to be fine. We're going to have to get together and do this again, and we can pick a subject to talk about, and then we can dedicate a whole hour to that subject. So
yeah, when definitely, I mean, we could also do like when Tales of Dracula Meets the Wolfman comes out. I would love to come out and do something like this again. I could actually say some more behind the scenes stuff when I'm able to, because I can't really. I wish I could say more, but I can't because it's spoilers. So I can't. But once the movie's out there, I can talk about whatever I want about the movie. So,
well,
and possibly something else too, and or maybe even one of the other films, that Zillafoot maybe, or Nos, if we can get I don't know if you can get that because it's so disgusting, or something else, Star Trek maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to some more production companies and see what we can get lined up for the channel. Hang around after, so I can.
But dude, I gotta go to the bathroom, man. I've been holding it for the last half hour, and even though I talk a lot, I can't. No, I'm just joking. No problems. I can do that. Yeah.
You can head on.
You want me to wee right here?
No, I don't think that would be. That might not be good.
No, it's not. We don't want to blind everybody.
Facebook would take me down and flag me again. So.
They might take you down anyway, just because I'm involved.
I doubt
Oh my God. That guy again.
They're always giving me such hassle. But I wanted to thank everybody for showing up this evening and tuning in, and for everybody that watches this afterwards.
Hmm.
We want to thank you. Um,
I want to thank everybody for coming in as well. Thank you very much for watching the film with us, for enduring my talking and stuff like that. But anybody who like follows me and stuff like that and has seen interviews and stuff, you know I'm like this. It's just the way I am. But thank you very much. Thank you for everybody that was involved in Tales of Dracula 1 and 2. You guys are all awesome. It was great working with you. Hope to work with you all on different projects and newer projects in the future. And and thank you, Beretta, for having me here. I mean, it was great. I had a great time, and and I definitely this is twice now I've tested your endurance here, so it's like hope it wasn't too bad.
no, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. All right. Well, we're gonna close this down and call it a night. So,
All right.
thank you everyone for joining in, and remember to check out Wayne's Facebook page and his.
You can check me out on WayneWJohnson.com, on Facebook at Wayne W. Johnson, on Twitter, Wayne W. Johnson, YouTube is WWJ Official, Instagram is Wayne W. Johnson. I'm not on Pornhub, so I better not be, or any of that stuff. And also Tales of Dracula. Their Facebook is Tales of Dracula, and Wolfbain Productions also has a page. I don't know if the werewolf movie has one yet, but if you go to either Tales of Dracula or Wolfbain Productions, either one, they're both run by Joe, so they will have the information right there for that, and you can check that out. And so Wolfbain Productions is on YouTube as well, so you can check out stuff on there as well. And definitely check them out and keep up to date with everything that's going on and see what's up with me and the rest of the gang.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
All right. Take care. Did you end with that? Did you end with that? That was awesome.
Yeah, we're still live.
Oh, that would have been such a great ending. That would have been such a great ending. Oh man, that was.
I had to
tell
throw that in
Jay, he has that on loop somewhere. Okay, just to let you know, Jay, I'll have to text you later on because you probably can't. I don't think you have internet, but if you do, he's got that on loop. So.
All right, guys. The last time. Good night, everyone.
I show it.
I'm playing. I'll play it. Good night.
Do those kissy-face movies make your stomach churn? Well, if so, Horror Addict Fanatics welcomes you. Like, follow, and share our horrific horror page, www.facebook.com/Horror Addict Fanatics.